In the late 1970s, a Stanford University professor cracked part of the code and mystery on motivation by testing how well can a child resist the temptations of a cookie. He wanted to test what would happen if at a young age we learned the ability to resist instant satisfaction in favor of later rewards. In this test, he put a young child in a room alone with a cookie. Before leaving, he told each of them if they didn't eat the cookie now, when he returned, they'd get one more. As you can imagine, some ate it and some waited. But what happened next was all the more interesting. He watched the journey of these kids over a lifetime to see how this ability served them later on in life. And what he found was an interesting insight that I believe we can all map into our own lives. Those who conquered that inner resistance as a child tended to do the same as adults, and that same tendency to resist, it led them to persist towards greater successes and rewards in life. They performed better in school, they were healthier, they even had better brain chemistry. Their success came from their self-control, from their self-mastery, their ability to resist the temptations of the now in favor of the riches in the future. So how do we start resisting today's fleeting fix in favor of tomorrow's lasting legacy? After all, isn't that what we are crying out as a world for? Our great grand plans are made harder by a bombardment of swift swipes, perfect pixels, and filtered feeds all flashing away for our attention. How can we resist when our very minds have been hijacked for control? Our endless thirst for gratification is now as easy as a quick swipe across a screen, and in a global arms race for attention, we are losing. What I believe is actually self-control is not a question of willpower or motivation alone. In fact, I believe it's about mitigating the temptations outside the gaze of our goals. We need to bolt in place a barrier around our inner world so we can focus on what truly matters to us, what is truly important. I believe that we need to plan for our weakest moments by putting in place such a process that there is something there, something that we've designed to fall back on for us to safely fail into. We don't rise to the level of motivation we have, we fail to the level of our systems. Filling the cupboard with fruit instead of cookies, for example, deleting these apps and disabling their daily dings, fighting for our attention. And once we've reduced the uncontrolled winds of the external, it's time to fan the flames of our own internal compass, to decide and set in stone what is it that we as individuals want to do. Not what a program or an app recommends we should do, but what do we want? As I end then, let me go back to the timeless words of Leonardo da Vinci, who said, "Success is self-mastery and failure is really self-abandonment." Success for me, it means setting in place a vision of who I could be and acting in alignment with that, acting in favor of the future form of me. And regardless of how I may not feel like resisting it, realizing that it's futile for me to hope for an easier path where every factor is aligned in my favor. It's never just about the cookie, but resisting today so that you can win tomorrow. You might delay, but time doesn't. And those who commit to nothing, they remain distracted by everything. Peace.